And now to talk about how political parties might respond to this new development, we are joined by Howard Lee, Perak Assembly Person for Pasir Pinji, as well as DAP Youth Chief. Howard, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
So, to start off with, do you think the implementation of Undi 18 will have a major impact on how political parties approach the elections?
I mean, that's a very wide-ranging question, but if one was to look at purely the numbers, I mean, first we have to acknowledge the fact that it has to be linked with automatic voter registration, and I'm referring to the Kuching High Court decision, as well as what has been announced by the Law Minister. So, I mean, if one was to take cognizance of above 21, those who are qualified as voters above 21 with automatic voter registration, you're going to be seeing an increase of 4 million voters as we stand right now. And those under, so basically between 18 to 20, you're going to see an increase of another 3.8. I mean, assuming elections are going to be in 2023 or even slightly before, you're talking about 3.5 to 3.8 million extra voters. So you're seeing a net gain of the entire electoral roll ballooning up by like some 7.5 to 7.8 million voters. So, and if you were to refer back to the entire electoral roll in 2018, you're talking about 14 million something, and it's going to suddenly skyrocket to about 20 million. So if I was to say that, no, there's not going to be much of an impact, I would be lying through my teeth. But I mean, to a certain extent, I kind of share Badrul's kind of pessimism of whether or not there's going to be a direct kind of sea change in political dynamics. I very much doubt there's going to be a sea change, but there is definitely an unknown factor or a certain dynamicism that's going to be introduced in the form of an almost 25% increase in the entire electoral roll. So all in all, yes, there's going to be an impact.
So we're seeing PKR, for example, taking in youth activists in preparation for this. How do you think this will play among young voters?
That's not just PKR. I think it's just the key difference is PKR is announcing that they're taking in activists. I think DAP and Amanah have continually is continuously doing so and always have done. I mean, let's take DAP, for example. We do have a track record and a habit of not just taking in, but actually fielding candidates who are youthful and are of the activist nature or predisposition. Yours truly being one. When I was first elected, I was 29, though relatively not that young compared to those who are entering the electoral roll at 18 to 20. But I think the one key factor is I think all parties, especially within Pakatan Harapan, has an inclination to attract, admit, and also to field younger candidates. So I think all in all, I do feel that it's something that we welcome, it's something that we all work towards and we all put into practice. And whether or not it will have an impact, I think that must be left for the electorate themselves to cast their judgment. And it has been a positive, there have been positive indications of that being a tactical move. And of course, we will continue to do so.
So, Howard, we do have this message from an Easy Peasy who says, well, imagine the Amno Youth Chief Ashraf Wajdi Dusuki. He's 45 years old, doing the hey fellow kids thing during the upcoming GE. Now, the reason I bring that up is because, as you mentioned, you yourself are in your late 30s now. You are DAP Youth Chief. Do you feel that you're adequately still able to represent the youth voice?
The long and short of it is, no, I don't feel adequate because I'm supposedly going to be retired this November, but because of the MCO and also what we're going through right now, that may possibly be delayed. But all in all, I have been elected into the mandate at 35, and I was elected at 35. I contested because I felt that I could do the job, and of course, the mandate was given by the electorate, namely the youth wing delegates. So I would like to think that I have sufficiently done my job, but as of now, being 38, do I feel adequate right now? No. In fact, I feel extremely inadequate, but I will continue to do the job until the new youth chief of the AP comes along. But will I be able to successfully deliver what is required? I do feel that I can, and as I have, I would like to think. Do I feel adequate? No. Can I do the job? I feel yes. Of course, I would like to see someone who's more representative in the role in due course.
In that same vein, and I wanted to build on something you said earlier about agreeing with our earlier guest Badrul about the lack of immediate change at least. We've discussed on the show before about why it is difficult for younger politicians to take the lead in political parties. There's a pecking order. It could be many years before one has a standing chance to even run as an MP. What are your thoughts on this? I mean, could Undi 18 change this culture?
Of course, Undi 18, it does not only afford an 18-year-old to vote, but it also affords one to stand as a candidate. And of course, that is still limited to those states, especially if you're talking about state legislative assemblies, those states who have affected their constitutional or state constitutional amendments. And in my home state, Perak, we were one of the earliest to have done so. So, of course, the door is open and the opportunities and the, I would say, the constitutional provision is there for an 18-year-old if one chooses to do so, and if a party chooses to do so, to field candidates who are 18-year-old. And that would be a sea change. And that is a sea change that I am pressuring for, I am requesting for, and I am working for within my own party. But of course, that at the end of the day, if one becomes a candidate and does not win because the electorate themselves are not yet ready or not, does not make the choice or do not make the choice, I think that is the key thing that we must address. And I think that has to come through some kind of a proactive action by the political parties to put forward, to highlight, to give opportunities, or to open up the room for the 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds to step forward to show themselves as capable. And I think, I'm not trying to plug my own party here, but I do feel that my party has been one of the most forthcoming in terms of, opening up the room for performance for younger leaders. I myself was elected at 29, and at that particular juncture, that is quite progressive. And, the youngest elected rep in my state assembly is, of course, he was elected at, 25 or 26. My dear friend Sadiq, he was elected at 26, perhaps. And I think these examples and these precedences are definitely something that we must encourage to become more of a norm. And I think it's a struggle. It is a struggle. I don't mean it's a struggle as in it's difficult, but it's a struggle like all political struggles are struggles. And one must transition from it being a struggle towards a norm. And I think political parties have a role to play in it. And certainly my party and I will push for this to be the norm in Pakatan Harapan. And now I am the Pakatan Harapan youth chief for, even if it is for a few more months left. But it's definitely something that we're working towards.
Howard, we just have about a minute left. Given that GE15 will be held next year, what issues do you think the youth would like political parties to focus on?
I think the qualification, as we would like to think, that the elections are going to be held next year. We don't know. It could be up to 2023. And of course, the foremost is, Undi 18, Undi 18, where 18, this is a long fought-for fight. And I think we're seeing some kind of light at the end of the tunnel. But the other one is the larger picture and the larger question of whether or not we'll be able to return some semblance of confidence towards democracy. Because I think the largest threat that we're facing is an absolute, disgusted lack of confidence towards democracy because of what happened, after Lanka Sheraton. And I think it's not about what we hope we will see, but it's about the actions that we take as political leaders, political parties, people's representatives, and elected officials. What we do and how we are to act and put into action to return that confidence to the electorate. Let's stop hoping and let's start making changes.
Howard, thanks for speaking with us today.
Thank you. Pleasure as always.
That was Howard Lee, Perak Assembly Person for Pasir Pinji and DAP Youth Chief, weighing in on how political parties can take into account the fact that soon those aged 18 and above will be able to vote.